So today we're going to rebuild the Astros following their ALCS loss to the Rangers. And also the recent news that Dusty Baker is retiring, so a new manager will need to be appointed. And it'll be interesting to see what they do this offseason because I feel like this team definitely needs a little bit of a shakeup. It's not that it's a bad team at all. Kyle Tucker, Jose Altuve, Yordan Alvarez, there's some good players in that team. I just feel like they have some aging players that they could look to get rid of, and I just feel like it just needs a little bit of a shakeup. You know, just because you have a good team doesn't mean that you shouldn't bring in new players to kind of put some pressure on those guys that have been in the lineup for a little bit. Like Jeremy Pena really struggled this year. Jose Abreu looks like he's starting to really age, and you've given him a pretty long contract for a guy his age. Justin Verlander is on the books, and there's a few others that you're kind of like, all right, we got to figure out what we're doing this team. Maybe get it a little bit younger too. So with that being said, let's rebuild the Astros. Before we get any further into the video, don't forget to check out Underdog Fantasy, where today they're running this boosted pick'em entry for LeBron James versus the Phoenix Suns. They've been running a lot of boosted pick'em entries and other special pick'em entries recently with the start of the NBA season, the MLB playoffs, and the NFL. So if that sounds good to you, head over to Underdog Fantasy or click the link in the description below. And when you sign up, use code ANT. They'll match your first deposit up to $500. And if you're a first-time user, they'll give you a special pick'em entry. Again, that's code ANT when signing up, or click the link in the description below when signing up for Underdog Fantasy. Exclusive negotiations. Michael Brantley was one. I'm going to let him walk. He's like 37, 38 years old. Let's just get a little bit younger within this team. Phil Maton is another one. Actually, yeah, he's on waiver. So yeah, I did release him. Phil Maton's another one that I feel like let's bring him back for another season. Honestly, I don't even know how he did in real life. Let's take a peek and see how he did really quickly. He wasn't bad. It wasn't actually, it was pretty decent this year. 5 mil. I'll give him that contract there. And as you can see in the bottom, like we only have 75 mil available, and that's not even counting our tendered contracts or arbitration yet. So we've really got to figure something out. And so looking at the team right off the rip, it's good. Tucker, Alvarez, Altuve, Yainer Diaz looks pretty solid. Martin Maldonado did retire in this sim, so we are going to be in need of a backup catcher. We've got Bregman, we've got McCormick, Abreu, and then Pena. So like overall, team is not bad. You know, Corey Julks as well. I definitely skipped his name. Pitching staff: Verlander, Valdez, Garcia, Christian Javier, Hunter Brown, JP France, Lance McCullers, who was injured this year. And then you look at the bullpen, we could use with a little bit of a pick-me-up, right? We definitely could. And just looking at the team as a whole, especially the MLB roster, right? We're looking at Verlander in his 40s, Abreu's almost 40, Presley's in his mid-30s, Neris is in his, 34, 33, 33. So like we're a little bit older with this team. So there's that. Like we definitely could get a little bit younger. And on top of that, if we quickly take a look at the budget, we are losing a lot of money this after this season. Verlander, Altuve, Bregman, we've got Presley, Neris, Graveman. That's a big chunk of change when we're going from 197 mil in salaries down to 81. That Abreu contract, oh boy, that one's kind of tough. I'm not gonna lie. We're gonna have to figure that one out. But I think looking at this, we're just gonna have to find some like under the radar signings that might help us out. Just something. I don't know what, but we're gonna have to find something that is just not gonna break the bank, because I feel like this is the year where we don't necessarily need to coast, because I definitely want to be a competitive Astros team, and we should with the team that we have. But at the same time, like we need to find guys that can make a little bit of an impact. So I don't know what it's gonna be, but we'll find something. I really don't have a plan of attack right now, because I can't go after Shohei. I can't go after Cody Bellinger. I guess could I go after Cody Bellinger? I might be able to make that work. We'll have to wait and see how much money's left over. But Cody Bellinger, that's an interesting one. The only prospect that I'm going to highlight from our first year draft is Luis Mendez, just because he has that first base secondary position, and there's that potential possibility that he could be a player that actually does play first base for us, because his hitting stats are already in their 60s, and switch hitter, okay fielding, looks like a first baseman to me, good vision, good discipline as well. I think this guy either comes off the bench or takes over for Jose Abreu, I feel like we at least have some sort of backup for first base, especially when Jose Abreu is already down to a 66 overall. We also do have Joey Loperfido, so we could turn to him. I know sometimes he does get a little bit glitchy in franchise, where he actually does pretty well. So he is on my radar too. He could be the guy that steps in this season if we really need him to. Another first base option that we could turn to is JJ Matievich, but his potential went down. And he's actually been a sneaky one that I found in franchise the last couple of rebuilds that I've kind of kept my eye on, but sadly doesn't look like it's going to be a useful experiment this time. So I think Loperfido, and I've moved Mendez from third to first. I think those two are the guys to keep an eye on this season. So we'll see though. Again, we could turn to, like I said, Cody Bellinger's available. Other first baseman, CJ Cron. I do want to get a little bit younger. We currently have $45 million in pending offers. So we've got about 25 mil to work with, 20-ish mil to work with. So, or like 25, 30 mil to work with. So again, I feel like pitching wise, we're pretty set. I feel like this is pretty solid for the most part. I don't know. The depth isn't looking that great, and we could potentially use some bullpen help. So I don't know if it's worth spending how much does he want a year? About 15, 16 mils. So that's about half of our budget. Is it worth spending it on Cody Bellinger? Honestly, it could be. It could be, but we'll see. I kind of want to save some money for future years because next year we have a lot of money coming off the books, but we also do lose Altuve and Bregman. And I feel like those two guys, we should probably bring them back. So let me see. If I can get Cody Bellinger for around that 15, 16 mil mark, I might do it. But at the same time, I'm not completely sold on the deal because I do want to make like different moves in free agency than I normally do. And I know I've gotten Cody Bellinger recently, but Cody Bellinger to the Astros, I wouldn't write that off this offseason. That could definitely happen. He could help out in the outfield. He could help out at first base with Jose Abreu, kind of more of a DH situation. Man, as a Cubs fan, that sounds terrible. But you know what? Let's see what we could do. I don't really like a lot of the offensive options that are available right now. So I'm going to trade for Kevin Biggio, and I don't necessarily like the pickup, but storyline, bringing a Biggio back to the Astros. Outside of that, I saw he had an okay season. And again, I just need a lefty bat. That's really the reason I'm picking him up. And he's a very versatile player. I felt like, you know what? I need a bench bat that is a lefty. I'm going to get rid of Jake Myers, and he throws left. Okay, I was double checking because I was hoping that he actually hit righty, and for some reason I was like second guessing myself that he hit lefty, but no, he hits righty, he throws lefty. So that's what it was. And so I'm going to trade him and JJ Matievich just because Matievich's potential went down to D. So I'm going to pick up Kevin Biggio and make that move. So now I made a lot of signings this offseason. Nothing too crazy, but just to kind of fill out the team, get a couple different players into the squad, and let me run you through that. Let's go like the Kevin Biggio trade, right? And I want to see if this shows you all the moves that I made. I believe this is all of them. I believe. So we've got Jake Junis 1 year, 2.8 mil. We've got Tom Murphy, 1 year, 6 mil. Ramon Laureano, 1 year, 4 mil. We've got Luis Torrens, 1 year. Davis Wenzel, 1 year. Cody Hose, 1 year. Ryan Burr, 1 year. And Connor Joe, 1 year. I don't think that's all of them, though. I feel like there's someone missing. I didn't go big. I didn't get Cody Bellinger. I just felt like I want to try to get different players. And looking at the team that we have, I feel like we're looking good here, right? Like the bullpen looks good. There are a couple older players that I definitely want to get rid of. And when their contracts expire, I probably will. But I think for the most part, we're looking pretty solid here. I am really worried about Ryan Presley. I think he's going to fall off this season a lot. But this is kind of what I'm thinking for the season. And then we still got like JP France in AAA. And lineup wise, I'm going to adjust it a little bit more. Like Altuve is probably going to be a little bit higher. And I guess maybe something like this. You can kind of see why I wanted those lefties, because we literally have like no lefties in the lineup at all. Like there's just none. And then we've got this lone 66 overall Jose Abreu, who's not going to be in the left up versus the lineup versus lefties. Woo! Man, let me get some water. My tongue's dry. It's like sticking to my cheeks, and that didn't sound right. Either way, you can kind of see what the team's looking like. We are currently ranked third with first contact, seventh power, and third pitching. I'm going to see if I can get an Altuve extension worked out here. Maybe like 5 years. We'll backload that and probably bump it up to 63, and that should do it. Perfect. Tucker's here. We got at least another season. McCormick, a couple years. Brayu, Framber. I think Bregman's kind of the one that I should probably maybe do like a three-year deal here. We'll bump it up to like 36, 38, something like that. Give him a player option and then backload it. And there we go. So we've got those two locked up. Bring them into the team or bring them back for the future. And that's looking pretty good. So second base is locked up. Third base is locked up. I need Pena to pop off. So shortstop's locked up. And then hopefully Jordan does Jordan things and left field's locked up. Kyle Tucker does Kyle Tucker things and right field's locked up. And then all we have to worry about is catcher, first base, and center field. That would make things a lot easier. Deadline, 2 games behind the Rangers, and standings wise, we are second in the wild card. So we're looking good, but it is kind of close with a couple other teams. Team wise, pitching is iffy. Some are good, some are bad. It's like I said, it's a mixed bag. It's one of those things where like, yeah, we could be a little bit better for sure. Some guys were definitely doing pretty poor. I definitely want to bring in a bullpen arm. You know, Montero's chilling here, making 11.5 mil. Could turn to him for some sort of relief help, but at the same time, no. This was bad. 9 ERA, yikes. I know only 15 innings, but he was getting absolutely shelled. And then so was Graveman, so I had to get rid of both of them. I think Graveman's got another year on his contract, right? No, he doesn't. Perfect. So just Montero, got to get that contract off the books. Lineup-wise, it's going really well. This is probably the part where the team is excelling so much. And you can kind of see just based off the quick stat lines you see in the corner, the issue is Chas McCormick is starting to regress a little bit, and he only hits lefties well, so I'm thinking more of a platoon situation for him. Loperfido's doing really well, and Pena's doing okay. On the bench, we got a lot of like good lefty hitting bats, so I feel like we should probably try to find a good righty hitting bat and go from there. And I thought about going big here for a trade, but I was like, there's probably going to be someone available in the offseason that would be kind of nice to pick up. You know, we could go and get, you know, someone like a Juan Soto, but I feel like we could definitely make a trade. And that's a generational talent, huh? But I was looking around, just trying to see what we could find, what different possibilities were out there. Will Benson's an interesting one. I don't know if he'll improve too much more, but that's clearly what we're looking for. A righty, a good hitter that hits righties well. There, you know what I'm trying to say. And so we could do that. I was looking at the Cubs. There really wasn't much that I really thought made a lot of sense. And I just kind of kept flipping through the teams. And I honestly thought this was pretty hard. Like, I just really couldn't find a guy that I really liked that I was like, you know what, this would be a good pickup. And then I thought about, well, we have a really good team right now. Maybe we just go crazy in the offseason, see if we can get a really good bat. And instead, maybe we just pick up something kind of cheap and something that could like just be like a little platoon setup. So maybe something like a Kill Badu. It's not a flashy signing once again, but he's doing okay in AAA. And at least the on-base percentage is nice. And it probably wouldn't cost too much. And I was like looking at other players and I'm like, man, there really isn't anything. Unless, you know, maybe like Oscar Colas, maybe Gavin Sheets. I did notice that Benintendi looks to be second fiddle in left field. He's only played in 55 games. Even Lourdes Gurriel has played in more. You go to Eloy, he's played in 100 games. Robert's played in 86 games. Trace Thompson's played in 78. Gavin Sheets, 55. And then Colas was obviously in AAA. So, like, it seems like Gavin Sheets and Benintendi are, like, the best option. And 15 mil for an outfielder, probably a left fielder, though. And we're kind of looking for, like, someone that can play center field. I almost said center base, which terrible. So yeah, we need someone that kind of plays center, and Akil Badu really doesn't play center. So like, it's kind of tough to find just that center field guy. You know what I mean? That unless I want to find just someone that is literally an everyday center fielder that can just man that position every single day and be that guy. And honestly, we could trade for him. That's another thing. Do we have the resources to trade for him? Not really. unless I give up like a big name prospect, which we don't really have a lot of those besides like the guys that I drafted. So it's been tough. It's been tough just finding good trade pieces. So again, I'm going to see if I can find that everyday center fielder. Let's see what we can do. All right, so we're going to get rid of Montero's contract. I'm going to get Jack Sawinski. I don't like it. I really don't. But he hits righties, right? Kind of. He's not having the best of seasons, but he does have 16 home runs and close to an 800 OPS. Again, I'm not a huge fan of it. I also think I'm going to see if I can find somebody else that could work for us. But man, I really don't like that pickup at all. I thought about Trent Grisham, but he doesn't hit righties well, and that's like the whole point of this move that we're trying to make. I'm also surprised he's got a 360 on base percentage. I'm gonna monitor that. I am. I'm gonna see what we can figure out there. But that's gonna be one I keep an eye on and see what we can do. But other than that, I mean, I don't really see anybody that we could turn to just yet, unless Garrett Mitchell, who's like third string outfielder right now. Looks like he's gonna get some game time though. So, ooh, he's played in 68 games. All right, this is gonna be another one I'm gonna monitor. If he doesn't play in a lot of games towards the end of the year, I know he can play center field. And then really the only other player that I looked at was what was it, Akil Baddoo, which doesn't really play center field. So I don't really want to go out there and do that. I know Nelson Velasquez plays a little bit of center field. He could be a guy that we look to hold on to for a little bit. The Royals are also doing very, very poorly, and realistically, we don't have a lot of outfield depth. So we could go out and try to get some of these guys and see if we could just kind of stock a couple guys just in case we need to make some moves. So I am gonna make this move possible. Let's see who I could trade to make it possible. Ooh, we're a little. Maybe get rid of Ramon Laureano. I don't really need him. Saves us some money too. And then we'll throw in Rhett Cuba. And that's going to be the trade for Nelson Velasquez. Again, not a flashy trade. In real life, though, Nelson Velasquez looked really good with the Royals after he got traded from the Cubs. Honestly, I thought the Cubs could have used him a little bit more. I thought he was actually a pretty impactful bat. But at the same time, the Cubs do have kind of a plethora of outfield prospects. So trading one of them isn't the end of the world. It just probably could have been for a little bit better of a return, but we'll see what we can do. So right now, Velasquez is going to go to AAA, and then I am going to send down probably Connor Joe. He hasn't been that great. I was kind of expecting better from him. I really was. So Sawinski's going to come and play center there, right? And then we're going to change this up. This is going to be maybe Jolks in left field. I guess we could do that. That's not bad. I don't hate that. Maybe Bregman gets moved up a little bit in the lineup. They should not be right there. Neither should Jolks. Maybe something like this. Yeah, I like that. And then this is the team for versus righties. And then pitching. We probably should go out and get somebody because that's been a little bit of a question mark as well. So Strom is available. Okay. Lucas Sims. Is he a free agent? He is. Ooh, I like that. Let's go and get Lucas Sims since he is a free agent. Let's go with, what do they need? First, right, or center? I mean, I'm not really too... Yeah, these are like the positions I can't really afford unless I give him this, but I can't. Man, the money's also an issue. Ooh. He's still got B potential. How about that? And then we can also throw him, you know what? Kendall Graveman. There we go. And then maybe I can keep him, and instead I give you Jay Cousins. There you go. You can have two relievers for Lucas Sims, and I'm probably going to try to keep Lucas Sims anyways because he's going to be nice in the bullpen, which now means Phil Maton can get sent down because he has been atrocious. So there we go. I think that's it. I think that's all the moves that we're going to do. I know we're sending down our second best reliever in terms of overall, but in terms of performance, he's one of our worst. So this is going to be the team for the rest of the first season. I like it. Yes, it was a little crazy there at the deadline, picking up Lucas Sims and kind of floating through a bunch of different teams, sorting out a bunch of different scenarios for outfielders. But in the end, Jack Sawinski, I don't hate the pickup. I don't love it, but I don't hate it. I think he'll provide us some more power. I think he'll get the job done. And then potentially in the offseason, we make a big splash because we're going to have a little bit more money to play with. So only 2 games out. I feel like we can still win the division. We won the division 89-73, so at least we have that. We're going to be taking on the Tigers. Okay, that's an interesting one. Standings wise, 2 games above the Mariners, and we would have had a wild card spot anyways, even if we didn't. So that's good. That's good to see we were there. Team rankings wise, this is going to be interesting because we were 5th for batting average. For runs, we were 7th. Okay, interesting. And then for earned run average, let's take a quick peek at that. Are we just squeaking in the top 10? We're number 9, which, you know what? Honestly, not terrible. So league leaders, we've got Jordan batting average, Altuve with runs, and then Jordan with walks, which is awesome. Home runs went to Judge with 47 and 45 for Ohtani with the Brewers. Interesting. Batting title went to Jordan. Trout is the MVP, beating out Judge and Jordan. And then Ohtani won MVP on the other side. Let's take a quick peek at his season. 200 innings pitched. Pretty good. Pretty good. It'll be interesting to see if they can keep Burns and Woodruff this offseason. But, okay, not too bad. Soto was 2nd along with Ozzie Albies. Peralta, man, that's a good pitching rotation. But Peralta's your Cy Young winner. Same thing with Logan Gilbert. Jordan and Bogarts are the batting title winners. Reliever of the year goes to Alvarado and Efros. And then Carlos Del Gaudio. Whew, he looks pretty good. And then Tamar Johnson was the other rookie of the year. Let me fix the roster. Rotation has been jumbled up quite a bit. As you can see, there's some up, some down. Forrest Whitley didn't really develop that much. Phil Maton really didn't do much this season. Like, the whip's not in a bad spot, 1.2. The overall numbers aren't terrible, but I just need a little bit better. And then, yeah, Hector's not even coming close to the squad. JP France got a couple innings and was fantastic. Definitely a guy I want to see maybe in the long relief spot. Maybe a reliever we'll see. Verlander, not too bad. I'm really hoping he retires so I don't have to bring him back. Seth Martinez got 12 innings, was good. Jake Junis was fantastic for the 1 season that we signed him for just under $3 million. Urquidy's been really solid out of this long relief / middle relief role. We got Lucas Sims and then Brian Abreu, who questionable actions in the postseason, and Ryan Presley, again, a player that I probably won't bring back, but you know what? He was okay. 12 blown saves. Probably should not let him be the closer for the postseason. Probably should run something like that. If we look at our starters, we've got Framber, 216 for inning total. That's a lot of innings. He did good. He didn't do great, but he did well. Christian Javier was fantastic. Love to see that. Lance McCullers was decent. Pretty good. Hunter Brown was okay. He'll develop. So I'm pretty confident with our rotation. Just as a whole, everything looks really solid. So I think we're going to shake this up a little bit. Maybe something like that for the postseason. We're going to rock with the 5-man rotation here. On the bench, you got McCormick, who cooled off for sure. Again, I'm probably thinking just versus lefties. I think that's going to be his main role. Abreu's down to a 58 overall. He's on the bench purely for moral support. I'm really hoping he retires because having to pay those last couple years of the contract is going to suck. Tom Murphy was our backup catcher, put up a fairly good season, really nice numbers. Biggio off the bench was fantastic, and then Connor Joe got called up to take over for Dubon, who was hitting under 200. So Altuve in the leadoff role was really good. Really glad we're going to keep him moving forward, even though he is regressing a little bit. I still feel like he'll produce for sure. Kyle Tucker was fantastic, really solid numbers. Jordan putting up 40 home runs, 100 plus RBIs. Diaz, 40 home runs for the catcher is pretty good. The rest of the numbers are kind of iffy, but 40 home runs, I'll take that all day. Corey Jolks was okay. Bregman was pretty good, 280 average, 360 on base percentage. So Winsky, I'll take those numbers. 841 OPS, 333 on base percentage, 254 average. Not bad. Like I said, a guy that I only want for his power numbers. I'll take it for sure. Loperfido cooled off towards the end of the season for sure. I think he's going to be kind of like our backup first baseman, but not bad. Not bad for a fill-in for Abreu, and Jeremy Pena wasn't good. I need him to be better. So again, we're really in the market for a first baseman. I was keeping my eye on this guy. He really didn't develop as quickly as I would have liked. I was kind of hoping for like a 68, maybe a nice 69, but you know what? Didn't really work out. Dubon's not really doing much to help us out like platoon-wise. Nelson Velasquez is kind of holding this rating, so he might be kind of our extra like Connor Joe-ish type outfielder. And then outside of that, I was looking at Pedro Leon. I'm not sold. I'm not really sold on anything that he's showing me. So let's see what we can do in the postseason. I have 27 guys on the roster. Okay, so who's getting sent down? Connor Joe. Connor Joe's sent down. All right, postseason time. Let's do it. We're taking on the Tigers. We cannot lose this. All right, we didn't, but it was close. It was close. Now taking on the Twins. So we're gonna be on Luis Garcia, and I think Hunter Brown's just kind of gonna be the odd man out. Sorry, but let's see what we can do here. Let's not lose. Let's not lose. Let's not lose. Hunter Brown or Luis Garcia. Is there anybody that's been doing, man, maybe, ooh, I'm torn now. I'm torn now. Did I mess it up and I went one? I did. Oh, no, that was right. That was actually right. No, that was perfectly right. So you know what? I'm going to give it to Hunter Brown. I have faith. Yes, there we go. So now we're back to the top of the rotation against the Yankees. This would be a good matchup, and losing the first two are not great. I think we're done. Unless we somehow get a little reverse sweep, but we didn't. Yankees knock us out to go to the World Series against the Braves. Okay. And the Braves end up winning. So there it is. The Braves win. Dusty Baker retires finally in this. Verlander retires. Okay, so now we've got the money off the books. We've got some of the older guys out. Let's get a little bit younger. Let's spend some money. Corey Jolks, what's his contract option? $1 million. I'll exercise that. I'll exercise this 1.3 mil too. And then Junis, I'm going to do just because it's nice to have that depth in the bullpen. 2 mil, super cheap. Presley's going to go. Hector's going to go. Tom Murphy, backup catcher. You know what? Yeah, bring him back. He was pretty good. How old is he? 33? Yeah, we should be able to get one more season out of him. 6 mil for him. He was fantastic. Lucas Sims, you can join the team again. 2 years, 10 mil. We'll do a little club option. And then Phil Maton, probably going to be reliever of the year this year, but not for us. Okay, 40 man. I don't really see anybody there that I'm really too attached to. Arbitration will get the offers out. Contracts will get the offers out. Junis didn't sign, but having 150 mil when Soto's available, we need a first baseman. Pete Alonso's available. Glaber doesn't really help us. O'Neill could potentially help us in the outfield. Willie Adames doesn't really help. Verdugo, not really a center fielder, but I don't think. Could Kyle Tucker play center? Did Kyle Tucker play any center this year? Let's take a peek, because like I don't think Verdugo's a center fielder either, but let's just take a quick peek. Let me see. He played right field all year. He didn't play a single. Okay, I didn't think he did, but I figured let me take a peek. Looking at it though, yeah, center field's still kind of weak, and I can't put Soto out in center field. We can't be doing that. So I think it might be one of those things where either we make a trade and see if we can make a trade with the players that we have for a center fielder. How did Trent Grisham finish off the season? Not terrible, but I don't really see any of these other names that I like. So I think if we're going to target somebody, maybe a big name closer, and first base is open. We're going to officially start the offseason with the trade. Jose Abreu's going to the Padres for their lowest rated player in their organization. We get that money off the books, which actually is good. It opened up another like 20-ish mil for us to spend. So now I totally forgot that I drafted this guy, Barack Napek, can play catcher, third base, and left apparently, but first base is his main position. 6'3", lefty bat. The vision, the discipline, the clutch, the contact numbers. I don't care that he probably is going to miss every ground ball in the field or he can't run. The dude looks like he can hit. He's also 6'3", 220 and has no power. But the dude looks like he could hit. And as much as I would love to try to get Luis Mendez into the team, I think this guy is someone we should consider, at least, maybe coming off the bench, or just because like Loperfido was good, but he wasn't great. And I feel like he could, kind of fill out this like little platoon style situation. Because like realistically, I had Jordan in the field. I really shouldn't be doing that. Jordan, he's going to hurt himself. He's too fragile. You can't let him field the ball. Just let him DH. Let him swing the bat. That's what he's good at. We've got Diaz at catcher, right field set up, second base is set. So right now we have like, let me see. I feel like Jeremy Pena is fine for now, but like center field, first and left are kind of open. Right? I can't believe I didn't have Jordan in DH the entire season. That's just dumb on my part. But center, left, and first. I mean, we technically still do have Connor Joe. Did I give him arbitration? Did I make that mistake? I definitely did. I gave it to everybody here. Okay. So we'll have Connor Joe back. But at the same time, like, I guess left field's open. Do we go crazy? We have so much money to play with. And budget-wise, let's see what's happening here. So 88, then 82 next year, then 66. So we're going to lose Lance McCullers after next year. We'll lose Lucas Sims after next year. And we've got Christian Javier, Jordan, Altuve, and Bregman all locked up. It looks like everybody is on arbitration at least for 2 more seasons, except for Pena. Which, if Pena's not doing well, you could just look to either draft a new shortstop or just sign one in free agency. Honestly, we might be able to go a little crazy this season. And let me tell you, Juan Soto in left field would be nutty. You know, you throw him a little fat contract like this. You could front load it. I mean, even doing this, like, little backloaded contract, and we still have 90 mil to play with. Okay, spring training, and this is an issue that I'm noticing. I'm going to show you the team that we have, but the roster that I'm using, it makes it really difficult to trade for center fielders, and I really wanted to juice up this team this offseason, and I signed Soto. I signed 3 relievers in Diego Castillo, Tim Meza, and AJ Minter. And then I also signed Anthony Santander because he could play first base and he can also play the outfield. So 3 years, 20 mil. I thought that was a really, really good price for an outfielder who can also help us out at first base rather than going for Pete Alonso. So when you look at our lineup now, it's really, really well rounded. I think it's really strong. The switch hitter of Santander. And then I still feel like that center field spot is a little bit of a weak spot. Yes, we do have McCormick and Sawinski, good like splits for 1 versus righties, 1 versus lefties. But I want to really juice up the team. I really wanted to get a really good center fielder. And I know center field is a very premium position, and having a really good center fielder, it's tough to have a really good center fielder in the league. And that's apparent by the ratings, right? Robert, Trout, you've got J-Rod, also like Michael Harris, you know, Brandon Nimmo technically has like a little bit of value in this. So like having a really, really, really good center fielder, it's difficult to trade for. And like, don't get me wrong, but I feel like if we called up the White Sox right now and said, hey, you want Juan Soto, you're going to take that deal. It's not even close here. And I think a big issue is 1 into left fielder. I think the contract's an issue here because they will take Jordan. And we actually make that trade easily. McCormick, that makes sense. Kyle Tucker, it's about a 50-50 trade. Like, it's 50-50 here. Like, they want a little bit more. I feel like you would probably want Kyle Tucker currently over Luis Robert. Actually, I don't know. Luis Robert had a really good season in real life. But let's see, maybe like someone that's not as high rated, like a Brandon Nimmo. It's a little bit older. His contract is 20 mil, which is way higher than what Robert is. Not as high rated, not as high potential. And okay, McCormick makes a little sense there. Kyle Tucker makes sense. I don't think it should be this close though. I think you're definitely taking Kyle Tucker over Brandon Nimmo in real life. And then Soto, they don't want that trade. That's wild to me. And you're going to say it's because he just signed a contract. That's not why they're not making that trade. I don't know. I feel like, here, let me see. Who else did I just sign? Santander. Let me see. Does it get close? See? So yeah, it changes. You see what I'm saying? It changes. So like, I don't know. It makes it really difficult to trade for center fielders unless you're giving up a really good player, which makes sense. I totally want that. I want more realistic trades, or at least trades to be a little bit harder to make. But at the same time, like, it shouldn't be that flawed where Robert is like, I can't trade one of the best players in baseball for Luis Robert. That's kind of crazy. Let me see if there's anybody on my team that I can even like make it close to see if I can show you that it is possible. But I don't really have the trade capital to make it possible unless they want Christian Javier. I really don't want to give up Christian Javier. So yeah, Robert, it's just not going to happen. And I looked around for like other potential outfielders that I could move into a center field spot, maybe like a corner outfielder too. Let's see, what's Drew Jones up to? What about Corbin Carroll? I don't think this is going to be possible. It is not. Okay. I'm finding a center fielder. I want a juiced outfield. All right, Brian Reynolds is moving back to the outfield. It's the only like good outfielder that I can get. The only other one that I could try to do is Brandon Nimmo, but I have to throw Chase McCormick in. And also, like, I looked at Asturi Ruiz. I thought, you know what? I maybe give him a shot. Hasn't been good. Hasn't been good. And then I looked around a couple other different players. One of them was Nolan Jones, but he's not really a center fielder. So even though he looks really good, I don't think he plays center field for us. And I think that really just kind of made my decision easy, that I was just going to go with Brian Reynolds and he can go back to center field. So we got a little bit of a pirate contingent going on in the outfield. And I have to give up Mendez, a potential, and also Gabe Rahab, who I drafted in the first season with Mendez. So my two A potential picks from the first season are going to go to the Pirates for Brian Reynolds. And then we're going to have him in center field. And the team's looking kind of crazy right now. So for season 2, we're currently ranked the first. Oh, just kidding. We are now the 4th ranked team. 2nd contact, 2nd power, 7th pitching. And we'll talk about pitching first. Valdez, McCullers. Hunter Brown's going to be last. So actually, I think we're going to go like that. Javier, Valdez, McCullers, Garcia, and Brown. JP France, long reliever, with Junis, Urquidy, Castillo, Minter, Sims, and Abreu. I like that team a lot. That looks pretty good. And then lineup-wise, McCormick, Murphy, Sawinski, Biggio, and Jolks on the bench, with Tucker, Altuve, Alvarez, Soto, Bregman, Reynolds, Santander, Diaz, and Pena. If we look at the budget, 32 mil still in the bank. We drop 60-ish mil, 56 mil after the season. So we open up a little bit more money to play with. And we're still looking pretty good. I feel like we've got a solid team. Our farm system sucks. It's really bad. But our team right now is built to win. Diaz is the only one under 80. He's probably not going to hit 80 either. So I'm not too worried about it. He hit like 40 home runs last year. So let's run it back. 109-53, we won the division, taking on the winner of the wild card. Let me just adjust the roster right now, and then we'll take a look at all the stats. For league leaders, we had Brian Abreu and Jeremy Pena had the most doubles. Santander had the most RBIs. Soto had the most runs. Team stats, team rankings. Wow, batting average. We were the best by 13 points. Runs, we were the most by 50. We almost had 1,000 runs. What about home runs? 316. We were the best in baseball. Runs batted in. There we go. And then, of course, if we look at ERA as a team, we were number 6, just missing out on the top 5, which with Corbin Burns, Ohtani, and Peralta, yeah, it's a good one. I mean, we still have a good team. I mean, the Yankees were really good. Okay. The Twins were really good. The Reds. Okay. All right. I like what I'm seeing there. And then awards, Judge beat out Soto and Santander for the MVP. And based off his season, 200 hits, 56 RBIs. Yeah, that makes sense. Ohtani wins it on the other side. Had another pretty impressive season. I would say pretty good. If you look at Cy Young, Lodolo, Spencer Strider with the 5.3 ERA was 2nd in Cy Young voting. Okay, McClanahan won it on the other side. Batting title went to Judge and Freeman. Camilo Doval and John Schreiber are your relievers of the year, beating out our Brian Abreu. And then Ramon Valenzuela, along with Jonkenzie Noel, were your rookies of the year. Okay, pitching rotation, we had JP France as our long reliever. Really, really strong season from him. Pretty happy with that. Junis wasn't as good as last year, but he did pitch some more innings. So, okay, it's not a bad season at all, especially, you know, when Urquidy was like, not the best. But Diego Castillo came in, did a really good job. AJ Minter also was pretty solid for us. Lucas Sims, wow. Not good. Not good. But what about Brian Abreu? Yes, 9 blown saves, not ideal, but had a really good season. Javier, what do we got going on here? Man, what is going on with our pitchers? I need you guys to be a little bit better. Framber was good. McCullers was okay. Garcia was good. I like that. And then Hunter Brown, pretty solid. Honestly, I don't know what to do here. Maybe like Valdez. Oh, man, this is tough. I might just leave it like this. I might just leave it like that. And then lineup, you got Corey Julks, only had 50 at-bats, but was really good off the bench. So I'm happy with that. McCormick was so bad. He was so bad. He was so bad. Murphy, once again, just as a backup catcher, can't complain about those numbers. Sawinski was good in his 36 at-bats. I mean, 1 for 3. That's literally what he did. Biggio was okay, not as great. And now looking at our starters, this is where it's going to get really good. You got Kyle Tucker, who had a 370 on base percentage in the leadoff spot. Altuve right behind him with a 400 on base percentage, 24 home runs, 915 OPS. Love to see it. Yordan continues to decrease. What is going on? Why is he regressing? He's one of the best hitters in baseball. You've got Soto, 53 home runs, had a crazy good season. Bregman also very good. Yes, the power numbers are starting to dip a little bit, but he's still hitting really well. Reynolds also popping off like crazy with 36 home runs, a career high by quite a bit. Santander also hit a career high for home runs with 40, and then Diaz beat potential, and he almost hit 40 home runs, and then Pena with the bounce back year, 25 home runs. What was our lowest home run total of the starters? 20 by Bregman. Everybody else had what, 24 or more? Yeah. And how many people had what, 38, 39, 36, 53, 37? That's crazy. What was the most on our bench? 5, 4, 5. I mean, that's not bad either. Okay, we are going to be facing the Tampa Bay Rays. I feel like we match up with them quite a bit. And okay, that's just the Rays. Yeah, that's they didn't change a single thing. That's just the Rays. Okay, I'm feeling good about this. Let's see what we can do here. Nice little sweep. Now taking on the Orioles, who, what do they got going on? Westberg's up. They brought in Duvall. Okay. But otherwise, that's a team. That's just a normal Orioles team. Pitching wise, not much has changed either. I mean, that's just the Orioles squad. So pitching, Garcia is up. I think, let's see here. I think we can maybe throw Hunter Brown towards the back of the rotation again and rock like that. Yeah. All right, let's do it against the Orioles, and we are through once again, sweeping everybody, taking on the Braves, which they haven't done anything too crazy, I don't think. Michael Taylor, that's their DH. That's literally Austin Slater. That might be their big move. Justice Sheffield is starting for them. If Chris Sale, all right. If we lose, there's some serious, like we might have to look into like tampering or betting or fixing, because that team is just not that great pitching wise. But I guess I shouldn't say anything because, like, you know, they can still score a lot of runs. So, and we lose 7-2, 10-3 though, 4-1, and to close it out for the World Series, there it is, 5-3 win thanks to AJ Minter. Nice. Award World Series MVP was Soto, and Yordan was the playoff MVP. Soto had a really good postseason, or at least World Series. Alvarez had a really good postseason. Actually, everybody did. And looking at the squad as a whole, pitching, McCullers was fantastic. He was our only starter besides Javier. Javier was decent. But then the bullpen, let's see what we've got going on here. Bullpen definitely held it down. Lineup-wise, everybody looks like they hit at least 300, except for Bregman. Was Bregman the only? Oh, and Diaz. Everybody hit 300 except for Diaz and Bregman. That is insane. Some people had some crazy good postseasons. We put together a crazy good team for the Astros, and I feel like that's rebuild complete. So I hope you enjoyed the Astros rebuild. If you did, thumbs up down below. Subscribe to the channel if you're new and enjoyed the content, and of course in the comment section, let me know your World Series prediction and also what video you want to see next. And if you want to see some more rebuild action, check out the one on screen now where we rebuilt the Phillies after the loss to the Diamondbacks.